Get your horns up. Yeah, you can hear the herd coming, baby, like it or not. We've been waiting while tailgating in the parking lot. Now that clock is ticking down, the boys are ready to go. The energy in here's electric. Let's get on with the show. Get your horns up. The green and gold are back in town. Get your horns up. Pumped up and ready to throw down. Toss that coin up in the air. Bring the boys up to the line. Hold their horns up high because it's Bison time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the Fargo Dome. It's Senior Day as North Dakota State plays host to South Dakota, the only top 10 matchup in the country. Missouri Valley football at its finest here today. Brian, Sean, Lee Timmerman, thanks for joining us on this Veterans Day holiday today. And LT, USD, North Dakota State, two teams that are eager to get back out on the field that have a very bitter taste in their mouths after a couple of road losses last Saturday.
Yeah, both teams coming off losses, and ironically enough, we're talking about teams playing for a conference championship, and combined, they've lost 3 of the last 4 games, so that's a little weird. So yeah, you're right. Both teams want to find something positive today.
And for North Dakota State, fortunately, still all alone in first place after the loss in Brookings last Saturday. The Bison, if they win today, win a share of their 7th straight Missouri Valley Conference Championship.
And what the Bison didn't do last week is what they're talking about a must-do again this week, and that's run the ball. So we'll see how that Bison offensive line tries to set the tone for this game, because NDSU definitely wants to establish the run. That's been, as Coach Messingham said, 100% our mindset.
Meanwhile, South Dakota, boy, get your track shoes on. They like to go quick. Chris Straggler, one of those players nationally that's being looked at as the Offensive Player of the Year, just 330 yards away from setting a single-season offensive yardage mark for the Coyotes, and he does a little bit of everything.
I would say that Straggler is the most important Missouri Valley Conference player to his offense specifically. So yes, Straggler does a little bit of everything. He's a little banged up, we think. We will see how he does today.
So the two teams out at midfield, the captains for both squads to take the toss. Nate Tangway, Trey Dempsey, and Nick DeLuca, the 3 senior captains that will play their final regular season home game today on what is a significantly important senior class, LT, because this was a group that was here when the team was winning championships, but this was the group that really maintained the success for the program here moving forward.
It certainly did, and you know, you kind of try to use terms like set the tone. No, they continued what was, and you know, just that outstanding run. And this is a team, and these are a senior group that thinks that they can make that outstanding run once again. And when you say something like that, you're thinking Frisco, Texas. We'll see if the Bison can get there. But the best path to getting there is to have home field throughout the playoffs, and the way to get that in the Missouri Valley Conference is win it.
And not only win it, but maybe win the next 2 games and win it convincingly, and finishing 10-1. North Dakota State did drop to number 4 in the latest FCS rankings that came out on Thursday night after the loss. So every game here for North Dakota State obviously means quite a bit. What for South Dakota? In a similar situation. The Yotes 7 wins, the first time the Yotes have been to 7 wins in a season since 2006. And they have a chance with a victory here today to solidify their playoff spot and also potentially keep themselves in contention for a conference championship and host a playoff game.
One thing I think when the coaching transition happened to Coach Nielsen from Coach Glenn a couple of years ago, one of the major things is that when Coach Nielsen came from Western Illinois, he brought most of his coaching staff. So there wasn't a lot in that regards that he and his staff had to do to get ready. And Coach Glenn, he recruited some pretty good athletes who are now juniors and seniors on this program and have the Coyotes where they are.
North Dakota State is 60-6 here at the Fargo Dome since 2010. This is the 53rd straight time there has been 18,000 plus fans in this building. Tristan Ducker back deep. South Dakota will have the football first. And Cam Peterson will kick things off here this afternoon. Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed. We are underway here in Fargo. Ducker, a high line drive, will take it in his own end zone, and South Dakota will take the football at its own 25-yard line. Let's take a look at North Dakota State defensive lineup brought to you by Shields.
Caleb Butler, Blaine, Minnesota.
Nathan Tangway, McWanago, Wisconsin.
Aaron Steidel, Carlos, Minnesota.
Stanley Jones, Bismarck, North Dakota.
Levi Jordan, Dickinson, North Dakota.
Nick DeLuca, Omaha, Nebraska.
Jabril Cox, Kansas City, Missouri.
Jalen Wimbush, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Robbie Grimsley, Hutchinson, Minnesota.
Trey Dempsey, Lakeland, Florida.
Jill Nelson, Papillion, Nebraska.
And take a look at who's playing outside linebacker to start the game here for North Dakota State. That is James Hendricks with the injury to Levi Jordan. Yotes trying to set up a screen to Frederick, incomplete.
Yeah, those starting lineups are based off of the two deep that you get earlier in the week, and Levi just not ready to go with his knee injury suffered last week in Brookings.
USD offense starting lineup brought to you by Shields. We talked about Straggler. Michael Frederick, the starting tailback, will also see plenty of Kai Henry. A very good and balanced receiving corps led by Shamar Jackson with 36 receptions this season. 2nd and 10 for South Dakota.
The Coyotes make their read, and then the Bison adjust off of it.
Inside handoff, Frederick gains a couple before he is taken down on the play by Derek Tuska. Will bring up 3rd and 7.
Thought it was interesting that Frederick became the leading ground gainer last week. Otherwise, it was that guy right there, Straggler.
Straggler flushed, room to run up the middle, and this is what Straggler can do and what makes him so difficult to defend as he runs for a first down gain of 10 all the way up to the 37.
Yeah, the middle of that Bison defense wide open, no linebackers in the center of it. That was an easy read and an easy run for Straggler.
South Dakota quickly to the line as Straggler goes to the air, delivers a little bit low, but caught for a gain of about 4 yards on that play as the Bison swarm under. Brant Van Rugel, one of the senior captains, 6'5", 200 pounds, out of Boyden, Iowa.
A lot of the passing game from South Dakota is that, those little quick outs to the flat, little quick slants.
Straggler flushed. He has room to run if he wants to, and he'll take off towards the sideline before he is forced out of bounds by Jabril Cox. Another first down for the Yotes to the 49.
It's always a tough spot to be in if you're Cox, number 42, because if he closes too fast to Straggler, he's still behind the line of scrimmage and can dump it off. So he has to try to play a little happy medium, not try to give up a big pass play, but also get to the quarterback, but not before Straggler got the first down.
South Dakota, in 9 opening drives, has scored 6 touchdowns and had a field goal. So the Yotes very effective right away out of the chute. Straggler dumps it off to Josh Hale, who had a big week last week in Northern Iowa with 6 receptions. Hale to the 42 of North Dakota State, good enough for 9 yards.
Yeah, the tight end group had a really solid week in the win last week. Hale catching the ball. I mean, Sampson even ran the ball once for a touchdown as a tight end. He's in the backfield right now.
Straggler, again, will dump it off, and Hale makes another reception as a first down for the Yotes. And it's moved all the way down to the 34-yard line.
When you play tempo, which is just a football term for trying to play fast, get a lot of snaps in, designed to do a number of things, try to get the defense out of position, try to force the defense into a mental mistake. And the other thing is because if you don't think just physically one-on-one up front, you can handle a team. If you play fast, that's to your advantage.
Straggler, play action, flushed and rolls again. And now will take off towards the sideline and kept his feet in bounds, and he's going to be close to another first down as he gets all the way to the 26-yard line for a gain of 8.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Straggler listed at 220, and he has that flak jacket and those big shoulder pads. He actually looks bigger than that, so you don't think he can do what you're just watching on that replay. That's turn the corner. He's got pretty good speed.
Straggler throws it out in the flat. Van Rugel, a big target, makes the reception and keeps his feet. Takes a few different Bison defenders to drag him out of the bounds at the 17-yard line.
Really tough to defend, a 2nd and short, and on this drive, the Coyotes have been able to set NDSU into that situation on 2nd down and short.
Frederick finds a small crease and is able to squeak through and picks up 5 on first down to the 11.
Another thing playing tempo is to your advantage or going fast is if you don't substitute on the offense, it is really difficult and almost impossible for the defense to get someone in a certain situation.
To the outside, and the Bison all over. Trey Dempsey, first one there on the carry from Shamar Jackson. Will bring up third down. Loss of about 3.
First time the Bison made a negative play, I believe, on this opening drive. But yeah, Dempsey crashing down from his safety spot, red run right away, and was able to turn it back inside and make the play.
Oh, and it looks like Hale jumped off sides, and the noise may be getting to the Yote offense a little bit.
False start, offense, number 86, 5-yard penalty, third down.
USD will use a clap for a snap count a lot of the time, so in a building that has 18,000 plus in it, if it makes noise, it makes it a lot more difficult for Straggler to get his clap all at once heard by his offense. So that's 2 negative plays in a row for the Coyotes, and now this noise is starting to build up a little bit.
3rd and 13. Straggler flushed again, was going to take off and run with it. He's to the 10. Straggler, touchdown, South Dakota.
Well, we talked about the speed. You saw it right there. He got himself one-on-one with Nick DeLuca and blew right past him, which does not happen very often. Nodak Insurance Company replay right here. He tucks it, goes. DeLuca is also knocked down on the play, but Nick did not get a very good read initially. You'll be able to see it here. Here's Straggler floating out. He sees that his left is open, and he just turns on a burst of speed. DeLuca can't get there, and the Coyotes have the first points of the game. 19
yards on the touchdown run for Straggler on 3rd and 13, and the Yotes strike quickly. 4:01 on the scoring drive.
Bison fans, your home for NDSU football all season long is 107.9 The Fox and Bison 1660.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Take another look from the end zone cam.
Yep, it's the high end zone shot. And right there, he turned on that burst, and then by that time, DeLuca wasn't going to get there anyway. And then there was one pretty good block in the end zone as well, allowing the NDSU player not to come out of the end zone, and that was on Allison. He could not clear himself to get to the line to try to take Straggler out of the play. With that beard and everything we were talking about, he looks like he needs to chop a cord of wood or something here for the lake cabin before he heads back to Vermillion.
And South Dakota has done this a lot, and that is jump on teams early.
Well, their first half production is phenomenal.
They've outscored teams 108-30 in the 5 road games so far today, and so far this season. Where they've had problems has been in the second half. That's where they've given up some leads or almost given up some leads.
But that early offensive production also really kind of puts the pressure on the other team to have to match it on the offensive side.
Time for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff as Ethan James will kick this one deep. Bison got a couple of big returns from Dimitri Williams, called back by penalty last week in Brookings. Pretty good return this time as Williams gets out to the 29-yard line. Here's a look at that North Dakota State offense brought to you by Shields.
Easton Stick, Omaha, Nebraska.
Colin Connor, Linden, Wisconsin.
Bryce Messner, Mackville, North Dakota.
Tanner Volson, Belfour, North Dakota.
Austin Coonert, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Zach Johnson, Spring Lake Park, Minnesota.
Connor Wentz, Denellen, Florida.
Brock Robbins, Cavalier, North Dakota.
Bruce Anderson, Tampa, Florida.
RJ Urzendowski, Omaha, Nebraska.
Darius Shepard, Blue Springs, Missouri.
Stick out of the shotgun here on first down. Quickly fired in the flat out there to Darius Shepard, who got a great block on the outside before he is pushed out of bounds by Alex Coker. Gain of about 7 yards. Take a look at the South Dakota defensive starting lineup brought to you by Shields. A couple of good young players in the middle. Nathan Schultz, a true freshman, starting at tackle.
He was fantastic last week.
Leading tacklers Andrew Gray, number 9, the free safety.
The corners, inexperienced though. Young and, well, one of them's really young, but inexperienced because of the situation that happened a couple of weeks ago down in Vermilion.
Power, boy, right there in the hole. To make the play was Alex Gray for no gain. It's Anderson in his first carry. Alex Gray and Andrew Gray, a couple of twins out of New Lenox, Illinois, juniors.
Andrew, the free safety, also the leading tackler. That's kind of a weird little dynamic that your free safety's coming downhill. But speaking about downhill, I tell you, yeah, Bruce was stopped right in his tracks. Very nice hit, good pad level.
The Bison just 27 rush attempts last week in Brookings. We're playing from behind, chasing a lot from this season. Open receiver on the sideline as Urzendowski makes the catch. And deep inside South Dakota territory, getting some blocks and finally taken down by Philip Powell after a big gain to the yoke 29.
That's just Stick recognizing that it's a zone. Corner drops off. Safety is nowhere near to the outside. That's Philip Powell, one of the two, actually you call him the backup, but he rotates a little bit in there with Mike Johnson, but he was not in position at all, and the Bison took advantage of it. Good read by Stick.
And a big third down conversion for North Dakota State. Back to the power game. Ty Brooks' first carry. And Brooks busted a couple of long runs last week, and the pile pushes ahead to the 21-yard line for a gain of 8.
That play, a point of emphasis this week, and it is blocked right here on this Nodak Insurance Company replay about as well as it has been for a few weeks now, as the Bison get all the way up to about the 21-yard line.
Powell looked to be the first one there for the Yotes, so second and short here for North Dakota State at the 21.
If that play continues to work today, NDSU's offense will be very, very happy.
And the Bison call for a timeout with 8:17 to go here in the first quarter. Chris Kleiman, 48-6 in his fourth season here as head coach.
Well, NDSU's fans have been so used to their team winning that, you know, after last week, which was not a good game at all in Brookings, but that's still, as you mentioned, Brian, only the first loss of the year. And, you know, in all the time that NDSU has made their solid runs and won national championships, only once was it an undefeated season. So, yes, you lost. Are you happy about it? No. Does it happen? Yeah. Does it derail you? Hopefully not.
So the Bison now with the football after the timeout, 2nd and 2. Connor Wentz motions down to the bottom of your screen. Dimitri Williams in motion. Play action. Stick fires on the run, and Williams makes the catch falling out of bounds, and he's got it inside the 10-yard line. First and goal, NDSU.
The Bison had 4 players in this pass pattern, and 3 of them were open. Stick takes the one, the second out, the deeper out. There was a clear by Urzendowski, 2 outs under, and Wentz running from behind. If Stick wanted to be just a hair more patient and caught the back guy, Connor Wentz would have been open for a touchdown. But you take the sure throw, take the first down, you're inside the 10.
Stretch play to Ty Brooks, following some blocks, bouncing outside. Brooks, touchdown.
The Coyotes open with an impressive offensive first series, and so does NDSU. The Bison able to establish the power inside, and they're able to establish something on the edge, working off the edge. This is where the touchdown comes from. Nodak Insurance Company replay. That's just an easy touchdown, blocked so well, even blocked well into the deep part of the end zone. But the Bison feel their running game must work, and they think they can attack the edges today, and did for the score.
Peterson on for the extra point. He puts it through. South Dakota went 75 yards on their first drive. The Bison 71 on their first drive. We're tied at 7 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard as Ty Brooks darts in from 8 yards out. Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard. The Veterans Day Parade in downtown Fargo earlier today. North Dakota State marching down the field and doing a lot of it through the air on the big passing play to Urzendowski. That covered 35 yards. Ty Brooks from 8 yards out. We're tied up at 7. Time for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed. Tristan Ducker back deep, takes it from his own 2-yard line. Jackson Brown got down there first and changed the direction of things, and then Aaron Mercadell, among others, got in there to make the stop on special teams. Looked like Chris Board might have gotten on that tackle.
Yep, Chris Board, who's battling a little bit of an injury, played last week only in the special teams area.
7:34 to go. We'll step aside and take another timeout and be back with more after this.
Number 14, Michael Frederick.
Well, we tried to take a media timeout there. The officials did not see us due to the noise, among other things. So we're back live real quickly here. Michael Frederick, a gain of 7 on first down. Shoveled outside. Frederick getting forced to the sideline, and no gain that time. Came up about 3 yards short of a first down. Jabril Cox ranging all the way over to make that stop.
Yeah, I think you'll see 49 Nick DeLuca get in on this as well. DeLuca sheds, keeps his hands free, outside leverage free, and there's the first one there.
So 3rd down. The Yotes converted 2 third downs on the opening drive of the football game.
Well, to win the battle of the field position, the Bison need to get off the field in this situation.
Straggler changing the play. North Dakota State mixing things up defensively. Here comes pressure on Straggler. He's going to let it fly deep, and it is caught by Dakari Allen, who went up and got the football. And it is called a completed pass inside Bison territory, I believe, as the 2 officials talk about. Now incomplete. Initially signaled a catch, and now the 2 officials get together and say no catch.
This is a 50-50 ball, as everyone, coaches especially, will call it. These are the plays that if you want to get off the field, you have to win. Nodak Insurance Company replay. High pointed it. Does he control it all the way down? I thought he did. Officials say no. Well, Allison was digging it out of there, though, when they were rolling.
And I think they may take a look at this one again. Certainly.
Yep, it's under review.
Well, enough there, LT, to overturn this.
On the field in game flow, I thought he caught it.
I know it's only the first quarter, but this feels like such a big play, doesn't it?
It really does. There's Coach Nielsen. Matt Entz, who worked closely with Coach Nielsen, says I can't call him anything but Coach Nielsen. Ball, boy, see, they're in fast motion there and game speed. That ball does not stay tucked.
Well, you talked about Matt Entz and Bob Nielsen working together at Western Illinois. When he left, Matt said very difficult decision, and said next to his dad, the most important role model he's had in life has been Bob Nielsen.
Yeah, really called him a father figure.
And also joked with him and said one of these days he's going to send his kids down to youth camp in Vermillion in Bison gear.
Yeah. And Bob said, no, you're not. Here, send the kids down, but they won't stay in Bison gear, I think was his point when they were kind of joking back and forth with each other. But boy, Coach Nielsen has had success just about everywhere he's gone. He's been a head coach for 25 years. He won 2 national championships at Minnesota Duluth. So around this area, we certainly know that from the NSIC. You know, with MSU Moorhead here, UMary, Minot State, those teams. And then he turned things around a lot at Western as well. The ball is heading forward.
Which means this is going to be called a catch.
After further review, the receiver completed the catch. It will be a first down at the 44-yard line.
So the officials seeing enough there, and the catch from Allen will stand.
Here's the back end of it again. Allen has it. It's underneath. He's on the ground. Ball comes out. Ground can't force a fumble, so he's down. First down. Big play for the Coyotes. That's really a lot of what USD's passing game is. Those dink and dunk RPOs and then verticals on the dropbacks.
Straggler flushed again. We'll just throw it away. Out of bounds. Flag coming in.
They're going to get Nate Tangway, I think. Tangway was out on Josh Hale, believe it or not. I think that was the battle. I think a defensive lineman's going to get called for pass interference or holding. But Straggler, I think, did the right thing just to eat it, throw it at the feet, and then the flag came in fairly late.
And this is one of these tough situations with a tight end. If the quarterback is out of the pocket running,
is he pass blocking or not?
Exactly.
There is no foul for intentional grounding as the quarterback was outside the pocket and threw the ball behind line of scrimmage. Additionally, we have holding. Defense number 99. 10-yard penalty, which will result in a first down.
Take a look here at 99, Nate Tangway, middle of your screen.
Yeah, he's going to flow left. Still kind of has Hale tied up.
So now the Yotes all the way to the Bison 34. Straggler under pressure. Got rid of it. Nobody's down on that side of the field, and this has to be a flag. It has to be.
Must be intentional grounding. There isn't a white shirt within 30 yards of it. And he definitely was not outside the tackles. He wasn't running, wasn't flowing.
Here comes the flag. There had to be a flag there. My goodness.
The quarterback did not make it outside the tackle box and threw it into an area without an eligible receiver. Intentional grounding. Offense, number 15. Penalty is loss of down at the spot of the foul. Second down.
This should be a good replay. On the right of your screen, see the flow of the receivers? See anybody there?
There's nobody.
Absolutely not.
Now, had Straggler been able to get about another 5 yards outside, he might have been able to get away with that.
But like Christian last week, Straggler this week, tough guys to blitz and bring a lot of pressure because they have good feet.
Hale, the motion man. Straggler under pressure again, dumps it off to Frederick. And a tackle made immediately on the play by Marquise Bridges was the player that came in. No gain. Will bring up 3rd and long.
On any given play, the defense will cover specific things and give something else. Well, on a 2nd and long, you'll give that flat pass every time.
Similar situation in the last drive. Straggler was able to take off and run for 19. So we'll see what the Yotes dial up here on 3rd and long. Bison bringing pressure. Straggler keeps his feet downfield and out of bounds, incomplete. And this in kind of that gray area here for South Dakota.
They've been going for it most of the time. Double blitz. You see 49 and 42 both come in. You also see Tuska drop into kind of a shallow, a little bit of a zone. So that's a different look, a little bit different wrinkle. And if this ball is going to be caught by the Coyotes, it would have been out of bounds anyway.
And in the very last second here, they bring on Brady Scott, a redshirt freshman out of Orange City, Iowa, who's done a nice job punting this season. Averaging about 48 yards per punt last week against UNI, and Dempsey back deep. Boy, great coverage on that play by Dakota Allen, taking it on the fly at the 2-yard line, and North Dakota State backed up in a tie game with 5:14 to go in the first quarter. 7-7 the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. game is sponsored by Gate City Bank, and for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans. 1st and 10, North Dakota State from their own 2. Bison will try to just move it forward as much as they can, maybe a couple of yards on that gain for Bruce Anderson before he is stacked up. Cameron Klein, among others, there for the Yotes. Ryan Geller on the sidelines has some very special guests that are now Bison fans, thanks to an alumnus from here at NDSU.
Yeah, they sure are, Brian. And you remember the Lucas Custer story that aired on ESPN the last couple of weeks. Such a touching story. I am with his mom, Rebecca, who is in Fargo. First of all, welcome to Fargo. Tell us how this all started.
We got a call from the Eagles. There were some wonderful folks here in Fargo from the Chamber and Gateway and Gate City Bank who wanted to offer, for us to come out and attend a game, and we were excited and honored to do that.
What's it like when you look around this place and you realize that Carson Wentz played his college football here, and now you get to experience some of that because Carson has meant so much to your family?
He really has. It's just surreal. It feels wonderful to be in the place that he played, and we've been so welcomed by everyone here, and it appears that we know where he gets it from. Everybody's great.
These Dutch Destroyer bracelets, guys, and I've got one here. I don't know if you can get a shot of it, but they're giving away these at the game today. Gate City Bank, a local bank, has bought 9,000 of these and giving them away to fans. But since that story aired, tell me what happened with these bracelets.
My gosh, we've been just overwhelmed with so much support. We are up to $236,000 raised now, and we've sold over 45,000 bracelets, so it's just been mind-blowing.
If Lucas is looking down today like he is, what do you think he'd think of this situation?
I think he would just be so honored and so proud of the support that we've seen.
Ball start.
On behalf of all of us in North Dakota, we are sure glad to have you here, and we think about you all the time. And your story has touched all of us.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. We're great to be here. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. And pretty awesome story. It really is to have the family here. Obviously, that story we've all seen from ESPN. They did a nice job on that. And the Bison moved it out to the 28 on a 24-yard run from Dimitri Williams. And now a negative play and then a false start. Stick might take off and run. Now he's going to throw downfield. Open man. It is caught by Williams. Did he stay in bounds? Williams to the 10. Dimitri Williams down to the 1-yard line.
Boy, the running play to get out of the shadow of your own goal. And then a little bit of an improvise here because Williams, as soon as it was scramble mode, he broke deep off the far sideline, and it takes it all the way down to the 1. Here it is again, Nodak Insurance Company replay. At this point, I'm thinking Stick can maybe get 10 yards. No, he's looking downfield on the run. Beautiful throw on the move. Williams keeps his feet and almost gets in for the score.
North Dakota State first and goal at the 1. Anderson trying to work in for a touchdown, but he lost a yard. A number of different Yotes got in there, including Gray along, I believe, with Philip Powell. 77 yards on that passing play from Stick to Dimitri Williams, who's had a couple of big plays on this drive, LT.
Yeah, that ties the career long for the pass for Easton Stick. And yeah, the long run on the jet, and then the long catch.
Connor Wentz motion into the backfield. Power. Anderson taken down from behind, and coming in again was Andrew Gray. So 3rd and goal now at the 1-yard, well, 1.5-yard line.
Now there's a reason that Gray, even though he's the free safety, leads your team in tackles. Here you don't really need a free safety. There's not enough space. So he goes off of the left side as there's a Bison player still down. Gray crashes down and gets into the backfield as there was a handoff.
It looks like Austin Kunert that is down on the ground. One of the seniors on this offensive line, the only multiple-year starter really for NDSU on this O-line out of Sioux Falls, Washington.
The initial reaction from me when you first see somebody down is how many times do people stay face down if they're hurt? They always want to roll over, and the fact that Austin stayed face down, to me, is a bad sign.
Chris Kleiman out to check on his offensive lineman, and NDSU has had so many knee injuries this season, and there's a lot of concerned faces here in the Fargo Dome. We'll step aside and take a break and check on Austin Kunert here. 1:40 to go in the first quarter. Today's game brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Gate City Bank has been serving customers and investing in a better way of life since 1923 with 36 locations in 19 communities across North Dakota and western Minnesota. 3rd and goal from about the 1.5-yard line. Kunert was able to leave the field under his own power, but was limping noticeably.
Luke Bacon in at right guard.
Anderson powering up the middle, touchdown.
Real important, I think, Brian, for the Bison to be able to physically finish off that drive that had those 2 really big plays. And then it was a physical finish on 3rd down. Right up the gut. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Brock Robbins with a good lead. And Bacon, who just came into the game, helped pulling and getting in front of it.
5th touchdown of the season for Bruce Anderson, and the Bison grabbed the lead at 13-7. Extra point added by Peterson, and it is 14-7 NDSU with 1:35 to go here in the first quarter. A lot of action already here through the first 14 minutes or so.
The most critical play, I think, is the one on the jet, that the 24-yarder on the ground. So you're worried so much about being that close to your own end line, and then when Williams is able to cut it up and get 2 first downs worth of yardage in one play, it helps free things up. Stick made a really nice read on that scramble to Williams long, and then a physical finish here on 3rd down. Luke Bacon just into the game, and so what's the first thing they ask him to do? They ask him to run a power play. You're pulling in here, big guy. Get out in front, help clear that side out, and let your running back get into the end zone.
And Dimitri Williams, what a start for him here in the first quarter. Seldom used, has 114 total yards already here this afternoon. 90 through the air and 24 on the ground.
In many respects, when you look at the receiving, what the Bison had at the beginning of the year and then kind of the way the years played out, you're right. I think Williams has kind of been a lost guy or forgotten guy. Not in special teams, but, you know, he's making it work so far today.
Just 2 receptions for 20 yards coming into today's game, and Williams already has 2 receptions here in the first quarter. Time for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Ducker, as this kick is angled from his own 1, and then he's hit hard by somebody. I think Jackson Brown was the guy that got him, and Ducker goes down to the 24.
Matt Plank, I think, was the one who had the big hard hit. He wasn't the first guy there, but Plank is the man who had the shoulder into him.
Plank looks like he might be feeling the effects of that hit on that right shoulder. Ryan Geller on the sidelines has an injury update on Austin Kunert. Ryan.
Yeah, guys, as you suspected, it is a right knee, guys, for Austin Kunert. Maybe the telltale sign. He has taken off his gloves, the tape on his wrists. You would expect he will not return in this football game, guys.
Yeah, Dr. Pyatt right there. The knee brace is off as well.
Alonje Brooks makes the reception. Robbie Grimsley closes quickly, but still a gain of about 6 yards on first down.
The big thing there, though, is Grimsley can't give up back to the inside. He has to let the sideline be his friend, know that there's going to be a good first down pickup, but make sure he gets out.
First carry of the day for Ben Klett, and he has a first down to the 35-yard line. Stanley Jones in on that stop for NDSU.
Klett came to USD because he wanted to be a linebacker, and he was a linebacker right up until last spring when they switched him back to running back, so he made a position switch to help his team.
Play action this time for Straggler, who's hit from behind and got back on the football, I think, as Stanley Jones comes from his blind side, and a loss of 5.
Sure seemed like there was a split second where both Jones and Straggler were wondering if the ball came out, but I think that the quarterback fell right back on top of it. Nodak Insurance Company replay off to your left. Here comes 94. Stanley Jones from Bismarck High knocks it loose, but it bounces straight back up right between the 1 and the 5.
The Yotes did have the turnover bug last week. 4 turnovers, 3 of them in the fourth quarter at UNI.
Yeah, the Coyotes on paper won that game, but the turnovers cost them.
Blitz coming for the Bison. Straggler goes down again, and this time it's Derek Tuska.
Looked like Straggler was trying to escape to the wide side of the field, but that's where Jabril Cox was. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Look at him. Oh, he's trying to slide, move up, and maybe bounce to the outside. 42 kept him in the cup. And then the sack to finish him off.
And North Dakota State calling for a timeout. Some confusion here on third down, and Robbie Grimsley and Trey Dempsey are hot. Or is that the end of the first quarter? First.
Quarter break.
Okay, so that will do it. And the first quarter, a wild first quarter.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it sure has. We'll be back with the second quarter of action. A 3rd and long coming up for the Yotes. South Dakota backed up 3rd and 19 on the first play of the second quarter. They need to get to the 45 for a first down. Straggler will just dump this off, and well short of a first down on that reception. As Jalen Allison made the tackle. I believe that was the tight end making the reception, Brett Sampson, who had the rushing touchdown last week against UNI. Let's take a look at that Bobcat scoring recap. Didn't take the Bison long. Explosive plays, 7 plays, 98 yards, and 339 as Anderson takes it in for his 5th touchdown of the season. Trey Dempsey back deep. Brady Scott on for yet another punt.
On that 3rd and long, the Bison just rushed 3. They were going to max coverage, and nothing was open.
Scott hangs it up. Nice high, deep punt. Dempsey all the way back to his own 21. And Dempsey eludes tackable tacklers. Now 2 flags come in as he stumbles down at the 27-yard line, and this is coming back regardless, I believe.
Minimum of 3 blockings in the back, I just saw.
Wait for the flag.
I don't know which one they're going to call, but I saw 3 of them, and I think 2 of them got called.
I think regardless, NDSU will have it deep in their own territory here and around the 10-yard line or so as the officials continue to discuss. The official today is David Siegel. And the crowd is becoming restless here in Fargo.
There are 2 fouls in the play, both against the receiving team. Block in the back, receiving team number 6. The penalty is declined. Block in the back, receiving team number 15. That penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down for North Dakota State.
So that goes on Daniel Polanski, one of the 20 seniors from Grigor-Legasky High School. 14:09 to go. We step aside. 14-7 Bison. Easton Stick had one of his rougher games of his career last week in Brookings, but still a fine season. 62.5%, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. All 7 picks have come in the last 4 weeks. Try to shake that off. He's been sharp today. 4 of 4 for 133 yards. Stretch play again. Bison got blockers, and Brooks makes a man miss. 2 flags come in way back at the 11-yard line. This would be a great game for Ty Brooks, but I think it's coming back.
I don't know if they're getting Brock Robbins right away. I didn't see where the second flag came from unless both officials were looking at the same thing I was.
Personal foul, legal block, below the waist. Offense number 34. Penalty is half the distance. Repeat, first down.
And this has been a point of contention with Chris Kleiman, is this particular call. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Watch 34. He's out of your frame right now. There he is.
It's kind of a toughie to take by the home team, isn't it?
Well, the whole point is not being able to go low when the other player can't see you coming, but I think the other player very much saw Brock Robbins coming.
He was trying to turn away from it. He saw him that much.
Boy, it's well blocked too. Stick is going to run it this time, and we'll get what he can, which isn't much. A couple of yards to the 7-yard line. We'll bring up second and 15.
First guy there, I think, was Nick Kramer. Off of his left end position. Kramer, number 95, you're seeing him right there. He's a redshirt freshman, has a couple of sacks, but he made a good read, came down the line, crashed down the line hard, and got Stick before he could get motivating or moving too far upfield.
And how many times was NDSU in this exact position last week in Brookings? Always seemed like they were backed up inside their own territory. Penalties. Screen. Complete. And there's room to run for R.J. Urzendowski. Got some great blocking downfield, including Tanner Volson and Bryce Mesner. Well, all the way down to the 30-yard line. That's a big pickup to the 28, and good enough for an NDSU first down.
This is a little bit of a wrinkle that I don't think the Coyotes saw much on tape. Stick just knows he's going to be, people are coming at him because they're not going to be blocked. But those two big guys downfield, yeah, did they pancake anybody? No, but the presence of those two big guys gets Urzendowski about another 15 yards or so. So just like that touchdown drive, getting out of the shadow of your own end zone, so important for NDSU.
Stick will operate out of the shotgun again here on first down. Play action to Wilson. Wide open tight end is Connor Wentz, who makes a couple of men miss. In yo territory, dragging defenders all the way down to the 32-yard line. Wrestling him down was Jack Cochran.
One of the areas, I mean, the Coyotes have played good defense, but their linebackers aren't particularly fast, and their safeties aren't particularly fast. You saw Gray, the leading tackler, overrun it. Once he slides by, number 9, once he slides by, then there's a bunch of room for Wentz, and then he does the right job, both hands around the football. You know they're going to try to tackle the football and get it out of there, but Wentz did a fine job of picking up big yards.
Stretch play to Seth Wilson, the true freshman out of Holman, Wisconsin. Gains about 4 yards down to the 28-yard line. Jim LaTrenta on the stop that time for South Dakota. And one position group from Northern Iowa that had a lot of success last week was the tight end group, LT. And we saw Briley Moore make a couple of big plays in the receiving game. So we'll see if North Dakota State can pick on the Yotes a little bit today in that area.
Well, what they're trying to do is get a tight end on a corner, or excuse me, on a safety. If they can get that on a safety, that's a position that that NDSU wants to get itself in, because Gray's a good tackler, but the two safeties that are out there right now are not great pass defenders.
Wilson running some power, some elusiveness. Seth Wilson to the 10. He's almost, I think he did get his first touchdown. Welcome to NDSU, Seth Wilson.
Well, we saw a couple of things in that run that made the red shirt come off when the Bison needed another running back after Lance Dunn's injuries. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Speed to the hole. There you have it. First cut, beauty. And the thing he does here, a second cut, and then shows a little physical finish, is able to keep the ball and his knee off the turf and get in. That's a gorgeous run there by the true freshman.
This kid was playing high school football 12 months ago. And that was a very impressive run for the young man out of Holman, Wisconsin.
Imagine what the high school kids were trying to do to tackle him, huh?
So the Bison a little bit of breathing room, now leading 20-7, extra point pending. Peterson knocks it through, and it is 21-7 North Dakota State. A fast start for the Yotes, but it's been all Bison here in the last 15 minutes. And NDSU has a 2-touchdown lead.
Time out of the field.
Seth Wilson thought he was redshirting about a month ago, but some injuries. Here is the true freshman. 28-yard touchdown run, the first of his career, capping off a 5-play, 88-yard drive. Scoring recap brought to you by Bobcat.
There's a lot to like on that touchdown run right there from that young man.
Peterson on for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Another well-angled kick to Ducker at the 2. Ty Brooks came flying in there, and then Chris Board made the stop. And Chris Straggler and company will have to get back on track here, and there's a look at Straggler. Peyton watch list finalist. Boy, look at the numbers. My goodness. 21 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions, averaging 338 yards a game through the air.
There's no player in FCS football responsible for more points scored than him.
.397 total yards on average per game is what this guy is putting up between running and throwing.
That's first total yards, first in the FCS.
Straggler drops it off. Not much room to maneuver on that play. Good job by Dom Davis, forcing Frederick out of bounds. Gain of a yard maybe.
Now the dual blitzes have been really successful for Matt Ince, but that's the hard thing when you're calling the plays defensively, is how often do you go to it? When do you go to it? I know they're working.
Dakari Allen makes this reception, and then Dom Davis on him immediately. About a 4-yard gain and another big third down here for the Yotes. 3rd and 5.
Yeah, Allen thought he had enough space to loop it all the way around, but Davis did not allow him to do that, forcing a 3rd down.
The Yotes so far today, 3rd and 5. Here come the Bison heating it up. Tuska and Jabril Cox giving chase. Straggler made the throw, and the catch is made. And getting all the way inside the Bison territory is Brant Van Rugel, who gets up a little bit slowly but makes a big catch on 3rd down for the Yotes.
That was a sweet throw because the Bison did. They dropped Butler into coverage, brought both linebackers. They couldn't keep him off the edge. Straggler got around the edge, zipped it downfield. Impressive throw.
Straggler downfield again, wide open receiver again is Van Rugel. And he is hit out of bounds by Chris Board. Another 1st down for the Yotes to the Bison 34.
These are the first defensive snaps that Board has taken in a couple of weeks. So he's obviously going to be a little bit slow out to the flat, and that's where the pass went. Van Rugel still slowed up on the play, and he went off.
Well, the Bison were going to try to bring on new defensive linemen and then got called back. Straggler will change things up here on 1st and 10. Handoff. Frederick patiently waiting for a hole to open, and then he is hit by Jared Tuska and Caleb Butler.
Just a simple slant left for the offensive line. Hand off to Frederick. Behind him, no hole opens up, so you only give up a couple, 2 or 3.
Frederick now motion out of the backfield. Bison bringing some pressure. Hale makes the reception. Trey Dempsey closes quickly, but I think Hale's got enough for a 1st down or maybe a half yard short where it's getting marked now. We'll bring up 3rd and very short. Frederick stays on his feet, down to the 10, and Jalen Allison makes the touchdown saving tackle at the 8-yard line.
Looked like Frederick was waiting to feel some mass, just a big impact. It didn't happen. He was able to squeeze through it and almost got in.
1st and goal. Straggler squeaks through a hole, gonna run for the end zone, kept his feet, touchdown.
Last year he was like a battering ram all year long, and this year he's using it more when he needs it as opposed to all of the time. When do you need it the most? How about at the goal line? Straggler with max impact against one of the Bison's best defensive player, and he won that battle to get in.
Go back to that 3rd down conversion on this drive. Where Straggler found Van Rugel in NDSU territory. Ryan Weiss adds the extra point. And it's a 21-14 game as we go back and forth. 8:24 to go here in the first half as Straggler runs it in from 8 yards out. Day for tailgating here in Fargo. Today's game sponsored by Gate City Bank, and for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans.
During that break, I made the comment, I said this thing has turned into, and looks right now like a 100-yard arena football game. These offenses are getting it done.
477 total yards already. This time Ethan James kind of pops it up a little bit short. And Williams going sideline to sideline is hemmed in, and the tackle made on the play by Ben Garlock, one of the backup safeties, and NDSU will start this drive from its own 13.
Well, that's why you do that. You throw that ball up in the air. Even though it's a shorter kick, it allows your kick coverage team that much more time to get down there.
Let's take a look at that Bobcats scoring recap. For South Dakota, 8 plays, 85 yards, and again, this is pretty common. The Yotes do it quickly. 2:42 as Straggler scores yet another rushing touchdown. His 9th of the season.
That throw, though, that was a beauty. That was the play. That was the play of that drive.
So now North Dakota State, who has found a lot of success both through the air and on the ground so far, will go back to work. Robbins trying to lead the way. Williams keeps his feet and finishes that run fairly well as he gains about 4 yards. 5 yards from where they mark it.
Keep in mind, one of the reasons NDSU is having some success on the edge is that the corners that are playing are inexperienced. They play mostly soft, a little bit softer man-to-man coverage or drop back in a zone, so they're not used to coming downhill, kind of closing off that edge. NDSU's been able to get outside a few times.
Stick has done a lot of his work out of the shotgun today. Read option. Anderson taken down immediately by Cameron Klein will bring up third down. Ryan Gellner on the sidelines.
Hi guys, a special hello and a special thank you to the military members and veterans on this Veterans Day. Bison coaches and NDSU athletics have partnered with Operation Hat Trick. Some of the coaches are wearing special hats today, and those hats are available at local retailers and the NDSU bookstore. Sales from those hats support the Wounded Warrior service members and veterans. Guys.
All right, thank you much. Your First International Bank and Trust sideline report. 3rd and about 4. Anderson makes the catch, and then he is upended at the 20-yard line. Boy, that was a big close on that play. Taken down, I think, by Powell.
I think it's Lewis, 31.
Lewis was the one that came in. 31, not 21. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
Yeah, Lewis was a safety, moved over to corner after the 2 kids got suspended to add some depth.
So South Dakota comes up with a stop defensively, and that is a 3-and-out for NDSU, and the Yotes should get pretty good field position here, trailing by a touchdown with 6.5 to go here in the first half. Flag comes in. This punt will take a hop at about the 45 and will trickle down ever so slowly inside the 35 to about the 31-yard line before it is touchdown. We'll see what the flag is here.
Yeah, one of the linesmen threw it right away. But it must not have been a false start, I don't think. Otherwise, that would have closed the play off before it happened.
Formation, potentially.
Illegal motion, offense, number 38. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
So Jackson Brown still moving, so the ball will move from the 31 to the 36, and the Coyotes right back on the field here. The Bison defense not much of a break.
10-20 to play in the first half. Richmond leads number 1 James Madison.
And again, I know you mentioned it earlier, Brian, talking about the first half production from USD, but this has been the norm for the Coyotes all year long. It's been the norm.
First and 10 for the Yotes at their 36-yard line.
Bison crowd trying to bring the defense to life here as Trevor and company get things rolling again. Designed run. Kept his feet and then hit hard from the backside. No gain on that play.
Well, DeLuca slowed him down. I didn't see who got the hit. Tuska?
Looked like Tuska may have been the one that came in from behind, and also getting up slowly is one of the tight ends there for the Yotes.
Sampson. Backside, Tuska trailing the play. There's DeLuca, both hands around the waist. Then Karch and Tuska both converge. This is where NDSU's crowd can help with a little noise. There's that clap.
Play clock under 10 for the first time that I've seen in a while for South Dakota. Straggler will throw. He's got pretty good protection now. Rolls out again. Steidel giving chase and pushes Straggler out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. And another all-important third down coming up.
That wasn't an RPO. That was not a run-pass option. It was a pass play. But when Straggler gets loose on a scramble mode to the right, we saw how well he could play. He doesn't like to scramble and throw off to his left. That's what really got him in trouble last week when he threw those interceptions.
Bison bringing pressure. Straggler airing it out. Wimbush and Alonje Brooks were the two men out there. This one underthrown and incomplete, and the Bison defense comes up with a very big 3-and-out on the other side.
Can't do it any better than number 23 did it right there. Jalen Wimbush, the junior, he's on his hip inside position, and actually the ball is probably lucky it was that underthrown, because if it was into the point, Wimbush might have had an opportunity to get a pick because he had far superior inside position. Well done, Wimbush.
Wimbush, the St. Petersburg, Florida native, a junior. Trey Dempsey lets it bounce, then takes it at the 15, and probably saved his team some significant field position there as he gets up to the 21-yard line. And North Dakota State, with 4:44 and 2 timeouts, has a chance to possibly move in for some points here.
Boy, both defenses aim for forced punts. We haven't seen that much in back-to-back possessions.
Let's take a look at your trivia question brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council. What % of Americans consume soy food or soy beverages 1 or more times a week? We'll have your answer coming up here in just a moment. Back to Power Anderson. A little bit of movement this time up front as North Dakota State gets some push. And the pile keeps moving before it is blown dead after a gain of 4 to the 25.
That's a tough spot for Luke Bacon to be in, because he pulls and he gets knocked off his feet right away. And then there's all kinds of other feet around him in a great big pile. So you got to make sure that you keep your hands and everything in there so you're not getting stepped on.
The Bison have run for 84 yards here in the first half, but Easton Stick 195 pass yards. Stick will keep it here, eludes one man and another. Easton Stick ran over a defender and picks up a first down to the 39.
Now, Stick's not the only quarterback that in this game that can finish things physically. There's one miss. That was the key miss. And then he takes care of the second man there. That was Mike Johnson, the strong safety.
I know it's only one first down, but you get the feeling that was a big first down for NDSU to maintain possession here with under 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, Brian Woodward in there playing some linebacker for the Coyotes. You don't find him on a 2 deep.
Back to the stretch play for Ty Brooks. Got some good blocking up front again and kept his feet before he is taken down on the play after a gain of about 7 yards. Again, Gray coming up from his safety position to make a stop. Take a look at your answer to the North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. What % of Americans consume soy food or soy beverages 1 or more times a week? 30%. LT, are you one of those 30%?
Yeah, I had some this week.
Easton Strick trying to get everything organized here. Play clock under 10. Brooks again. Got some blocking. Look at the electricity of Ty Brooks to the 30. to the 10. Ty Brooks, touchdown.
Tell you, the Bison really took advantage on that drive of the substitution with Woodward in at linebacker. They picked on him. Here he's number 5, flowing, getting taken off the play. When he misses, safety can't be there. Brooks has one man to beat to take it all the way in for the touchdown.
Ty Brooks, his second touchdown of the day. North Dakota State rolling offensively, 27 first half points as Peterson tries to add the extra points, and he does so. Back to a 2-touchdown lead with 2:37 to go for North Dakota State. Ty Brooks, 54 yards on that touchdown run.
Again, this Coyote defense as a whole unit not blessed with a lot of foot speed, and the Bison right now have found a way to exploit it, and that's out on the edge. Linebacker goes down, safety goes down. Urzendowski doesn't even need the last downfield block. He gets a little push in there on Gray anyway. Touchdown. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
Again, Ty Brooks missing some time with various ailments in his lower leg, including a hamstring, but boy, he sure looks back to full speed.
Really, though, the play that we saw that was the play that ultimately didn't happen. Remember the 80-plus run last week in Brookings that Brooks was taking in for a touchdown, and there was a flag on the play that, well, it got called back, so he didn't get the long run. But that run was what showed the Bison and the coaches and everybody that Brooks was healthy.
Ryan Gellner on the sidelines has an update on another Bison injury.
Guys, there is a little bit of concern on the sideline for James Hendricks, who started at linebacker today. He came limping off after the last series. Team doctors looked at his right knee, and you see Hendricks trying to stretch that thing out on the sideline. He is questionable right now, although he wants to go back in.
Their First International Bank and Trust injury report, and boy, more great special teams coverage for NDSU, and that was the running back, Bruce Anderson, coming in to make the tackle on Tucker.
Well, just to follow up on Ryan's sideline report, remember that Hendricks was designed and designated to play linebacker today because that position group was so short. That's one of the reasons Chris Board is back out there. He's not 100% healthy either.
But Hendricks is out there, essentially playing linebacker with DeLuca and Jabril Cox.
It's the tough call. It's, are you hurt or are you injured? If you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, you can't.
The Yotes back to work offensively. Straggler dumps it off, finds a man. Boy, pretty good elusiveness for those Jacks receivers, including the running backs like Michael Frederick, who makes another catch there.
Yeah, he got past Jalen Allison right away and then was able to just pick his way about another 4 yards.
And Frederick gets the carry, waits for a hold open before he is taken down on the play. Hendricks in on that stop. First down for the Yotes to the 31.
This is when the Coyotes like to play quick. You see Straggler getting that play call out. Play clock barely moving, ready to snap it.
Pressure coming on Straggler. He's able to dump it off to Frederick again and is taken out of bounds. The clock will stop. Gain of 6 to the 37.
Bridges may have gotten caught just a little bit further inside than he wanted to when the pass goes off to the cornerback's left. He has a little bit too much space, can't close it down fast enough.
South Dakota does have 3 timeouts, but again, the Yotes move so quickly they may not need them. Pass completed. That's Cody Case, who, again, has been dinged up a little bit.
Yeah, he initially had a quad contusion, but I tell you, when that kid is 100% healthy, he would be the fastest one on the field, period. He's got blinding speed. One of the reasons he's a kick returner. He's not doing that today, but he's trying to gut it out here, not feeling 100%.
A true freshman out of Lake City, Iowa. Just 165 pounds, but explosive. Trebler, designed run. He does have enough for a first down, as Grimsley comes in to finish him off at the 42.
Move the chain, stop the clock, allows NDSU an opportunity to get a couple of fresh defensive linemen back out there. That's the one position right now NDSU has really solid depth.
Straggler Springs in the pocket, delivers on target, and Case makes the reception. Gain of 11 inside Bison territory to the 47.
Right there's the difference between the Straggler we saw play last year and the one that's playing this year. He's able to throw the ball so much better this year than he did last. Last year, he was not very comfortable in the pocket. This year, he's on it.
Handoff, not much room. Bison all over that, as Frederick is taken down at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
I don't know if it was a run blitz or if the read was that fast from Hendricks, but James Hendricks was in there quickly. First guy, didn't hit him. Stanley Jones brought him down, but Hendricks, superior run fit.
Oh, Straggler escapes Caleb Butler, and now he's going to take off and run as he gets to the 46, and a 3rd and about 7 coming up.
Quarterback is such an enticing morsel when you want to try to get him to turn the corner and go at it, but Butler, he knows he has outside contain. He did not keep outside contain.
3rd and 7 from the 44 of NDSU. 1:05 to go here in the first half. Straggler delivers on target. Shamar Jackson's been pretty quiet today, but a big catch there to the Bison 34-yard line.
Play designed to get the first down. Sit right between the linebackers with 2 yards past the first down marker. Well done.
Straggler feeling the pressure, now rolling out. Jabril Cox giving chase, and Straggler taken out inbounds at about the 33 for a couple of yards. Bison fans wanting a holding call on the edge.
Oh, Stanley Jones was really held, and I think we might have a sideline penalty here coming from NDSU. But they may have been complaining about the hold that didn't get called. Warning.
It's the first warning of the game. Playing out of bounds. The clock will start on the snap. 2nd down.
They brought the spot all the way back to the 34, so no gain for Straggler. 49 seconds left, and again, the Yotes plenty of timeouts to use if they need them.
Well, the Bison were right. Jones definitely got held on the play, but he didn't get it called.
Here comes pressure again for NDSU. Straggler airing it out to Van Rugel, and it's tipped away at the last moment by Robbie Grimsley.
Ooh, I think the Bison got a little lucky on that one because Bridges turns to the ball about 2 steps too soon, and then your safety bailed him out. If Grimsley doesn't get there, 6 points.
Frederick in the backfield with Straggler. 3rd and 10. Bison bring an extra rusher. Straggler taken down back at the 35-yard line. And this time it's Blake Williams. And Bob Nielsen will call for a timeout.
A little bit different what NDSU did there. They rolled everyone down, including the safety, to play man under on all 4 receivers. That's a little bit different look. Quarterbacks do not see that very often. That threw Straggler off. It allowed the Bison the opportunity to have a little bit more time to get to the quarterback.
My guess is the Yotes are going for it.
Well, you're staring at, well, their kicker doesn't have the leg.
Weiss is a transfer from Kansas.
He just doesn't. And so, yeah, you want a 4th and 10. You have plenty of timeouts. You might as well get the play you want. But yeah, their kicker can't kick it for over 50.
Today's game sponsored by Gate City Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard.
Well, we've seen Matt Ensby, bring some pressure, so he's been aggressive there. But to roll Grimsley down all the way into a one-on-one and 4 under, one over, that was real interesting. That was a really aggressive defense. Matt Entz, his players forced the 4th down.
Already the 47th play of the game for South Dakota. This is what they do. But this is a big one on 4th down. Bison showing pressure. Now they back off a little bit. Straggler going to try to take off, dumping it off, and it's tipped out of bounds. The receiver fell down, Van Rugel, And that is a huge stop for the Bison defense. And now we'll see how aggressive Chris Kleiman wants to get with 29 seconds and 2 timeouts.
We talked earlier of how about when Straggler is rolling to his right, he's much more comfortable in getting the ball down the field. This time he's moving to his left. This is where he had issues last week. In fact, he threw one that ended up being a pick 6. And I don't know if Van Rugel, if he gets clean hands on this, if he is even in a situation to make a catch inbounds or not. But the Bison certainly had it bracket covered it both short and right behind him.
Well, the Bison certainly come out in what you would think is run personnel here. Stretch play to Brooks again. Brooks turned back inside and driven back by Coker at about the 39-yard line for a gain of 5.
Yeah, it was run personnel, Brian, definitely, but run personnel with the kid right now who has the big play potential out of that tailback spot. So you're going to play it safe? Yeah, unless he pops it.
So NDSU will let the clock run out. The Bison will have the football coming out of the locker room, leading by 2 touchdowns.
It feels like we've played a whole game already. We're only at halftime.
Ryan Gellner standing by with head coach Chris Kleiman.
Chris, you found your offense in this game so far. What an effort by Ty Brooks.
Yeah, great job by our offense. We need to score every time with that quarterback. He's a great player. It was a big stop for us there because, you know, anytime you can get stops against that kid, he's a great scrambler, and so we've got to go to work the second half.
All right, best of luck, Coach.
Thank you, Ryan. Veterans Day here today. Thanks to all our veterans, and a wonderful rendition of God Bless America played here earlier this afternoon at the Fargo Dome.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean's wide with foam. Oh, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
What's going on, guys? Am I up or not? North Dakota State, USD set for the third quarter of play, 28-14. Let's throw it down to Ryan Gellner, who had a chance to catch up with Bob Nielsen.
Yeah, guys, and as you can imagine, he is not happy with his tie-out defense. He said they need to figure out a way to stop the Bison. If they can do that, they think they might have some success. But he looked at me and said, I don't know if we can stop them, guys.
Your First International Bank and Trust sideline report. Thank you, Ryan.
Well,
and unfortunately for the Yotes, the Bison have the football first, so we're going to know right away if the adjustments worked.
Well, considering that both teams had a combined 616 yards of total offense in that first half, there wasn't a lot of stopping going on, but NDSU did get into the end zone twice in each quarter. So it's a 28-14 advantage.
Ethan James will boot this one away. Dimitri Williams deep for NDSU, who comes up to make the catch of it at his own 7th. Another flag comes in. Almost hit Dimitri Williams as he is driven out of bounds. On the play by Doug Lewis. And now they throw it back to the 22. So it appears NDSU may be backed up yet again offensively.
I didn't catch the flag. I saw Des Kane
During
fly
the return,
backwards.
Holding, receiving team number 13. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And it does go on Kane.
Well, not only did he get blown up on the play when he was flying backwards, he grabbed on and held the guy.
Look at Easton Stick, who had a really good first half, has rebounded big time here. 7 of 7 for 195 yards. In that first half, he also ran it twice for 15 yards. Part of your North Dakota Beef Commission quarterback stats.
Almost 28 yards of completion.
So the Bison backed up to their own 13-yard line. Back to the power game. Bruce Anderson keeps his feet, keeps chugging. And down to the 19. Boy, tough running inside and a gain of about 7.
Point of first solid contact was the 15. Look at where the ball ended up. Almost out to the 20. Nodak Insurance Company brings you the replays. There's the point of first contact. In traffic. Bruce able to keep those legs churning. Real good first down pickup.
Read option. Anderson's going to keep it. Came up about a yard short of a first down at the 22-yard line, so 3rd and 1 coming up. Coker making the stop for USD.
Just looking at the Bison offensive line again, just to kind of reiterate, Austin Kunert was injured his right knee in that first half. Luke Bacon came in for him, and Bacon has played. There he is, Austin out of uniform and with crutches on. Feel sorry for him here on senior day, but Bacon playing that right guard.
Connor Wentz motions to the backfield. Everybody up at the line, and the Bison want to run it. Anderson tried to get outside, and he did not get there. He was turned back by the Yotes. And a number of different players came in there to make that stop, including Gray.
I thought I saw Isaac Armstead in there as well. One of the corners, number 29.
So that is a big stop for the South Dakota defense. A 3-and-out coming out of the locker room. The Yotes should get pretty good field position here.
Yeah, that's
Tristan Ducker deep.
Best case scenario for the Coyotes. Over to force a punt.
Jackson Kuntz sends this one high and fairly deep to Ducker, who calls for the fair catch at the 36. So a pretty good punt that time for Jackson Kuntz, and the Yotes will have it for the first time here in the second half, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Well, NDSU came out, wanted to be physical on the offensive line. Coyotes stopped them.
Chris Straggler. There's another day at the office for him here in the first half. 19 of 24 for 169 passing yards. He's also run it 14 times for 45 yards and 2 touchdowns. As you look at his numbers, brought to you by the North Dakota Beef Commission.
Yeah, over 200 total yards, 200. Not bad for a half's work.
Handoff again goes to Frederick, and Frederick finally driven down by Nick DeLuca after a gain of 7.
James Hendricks back in there at linebacker, and here's the difference between having Hendricks play linebacker and someone who's used to it. He lost his outside edge. He got caught about a half a body width.
Frederick again getting outside, and Grimsley comes up to make the tackle. But Frederick's got a first down to the 49. Frederick not as much room this time. Stanley Jones coming in from behind, still gains 4 inside Bison territory to the 46.
Well, as much success as both teams had, winging the ball, throwing it downfield, getting long touchdowns, obviously each team wants to establish a ground game here in the second half.
Straggler under pressure, down he goes, tried to get rid of it as Jalen Allison came in.
Incomplete. He did get rid of it.
And a flag comes in, I think, for grounding. Was not outside the tackle box.
He did get rid of it, but yeah, you're right. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
Grounding. Offense, number 15. Penalty has lost it down at the spot of the foul.
There's the corner blitz from Allison, already on his legs. Trebler tried to zip it out, but there was not enough zip there to get it to anyone close. You lose the down and you lose some yards. Or no, you don't lose yards, it's from the spot. But you lost the down and it's 3rd and long.
So 3rd and 13. The Yotes 7 of 11 on third down in that first half. Straggler dumps it off. Dakari Allen's got a long way to go. Jalen Wimbush made sure he did not get away, and Jalen Allison helped him out, and South Dakota stopped.
And when you know your opponent needs to get 14 yards for the first down, you can really kind of force a wall back there at about that 12 to 15 yard mark and allow nothing open except underneath, and then you make the tackle. And NDSU, as we know, pretty good tackling team.
So Scott on for a punt as the Bison defense comes up with a big stop after USD forced NDSU into a 3-and-out. Fair catch called for and made by Trey Dempsey, and the Bison will be backed up again, but they got the football back again as well. 10:55 to go in the third quarter. 28-14 NDSU on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Today's game is sponsored by Gate City Bank, and for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans. North Dakota State 1st and 10 with the football on their own 14. Not much room again for Anderson to maneuver, just a yard to the 15-yard line.
Just a simple zone read. And covered up well. There's a name we haven't mentioned much today, and I think that's a credit to NDSU, because Greenfield, boy, has he had a year. He's been all over the place, among the leaders in the nation in tackles for loss, and that's one of the few times, this isn't a TFL, but it's one of the few times that we've even seen him in there.
Second in the Valley with 6 sacks, also 10 quarterback hits. Stick had to go low for it. Quarterback draw, and Easton finds some room. He's going to be close to a first down, about a yard short. So another 3rd and 1 coming up for the Bison as Easton picks up about 8.
Double stunt on the defensive line. Both defensive ends cross, defensive tackles come out, and because of that, that helped open up a little bit of a lane. You saw Greenfield making the tackle, but not before Stick was able to get just a yard shy of the first down marker. So the defensive line kind of put themselves in a little bit of a hurt bag there by running the double stunt.
Easton tries to just do it himself, and he gets a first down as he pushes ahead to the 24-yard line. And Ryan Gellner has yet another injury report from the North Dakota State sidelines.
Yeah, bad news for the Bison guys. Darius Shepard is out for the remainder of the game with a hamstring injury. He hurt it early in this football game. He tried to get it going on the sideline, never did get it back to where he wanted to go. He is now in street clothes after halftime. Darius Shepard out for NDSU.
Shepard came in with more catches than anyone else on this team for the Bison.
Power formation, play action for Stick. Fires on the comeback, and the catch is made by Desmond Kane as he is taken down and then thrown down to boot by Isaac Armstead. 2 yards short of a first down to the 33.
Armstead was really close to making it a first down because he does a little bit extra with the feet and the legs after the comeback catch. There's the catch, ball thrown in a perfect spot to the wide side, and that right there a lot of times will get you 15.
So Des Kane making his 5th reception of the season. Amazing how quiet this building gets when the NDSU's in offense. Boy, Anderson, just not a lot of room. Somehow kept his feet, no whistle. He actually may have been able to get a yard, so another 3rd and short coming up.
I think Greenfield from his left defensive end position was first guy there again, so he's able to dial up the speed and get into the backfield.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Now Armstead really came
there
flying in too. Stick is going to keep it. Bounces off his own man and then falls forward to the 37-yard line. Tackle made by Cameron Klein, but another 3rd down conversion for NDSU.
The overall kind of game plan on the year is to try not to let Stick run it too often, except third downs and red zone. That's when you want to expose him a little bit more. Third down run, picked up the first.
And every first down, North Dakota State can milk a little bit more time off that clock. Play action. Stick to the air. Wide open receiver. The tight end, Jeff Ileus, bounces off a man to the 25, the 20, and he's still fighting for yards. Down to the 17-yard line.
Oh boy, did Ileus blow past the linebacker. That leaves the free safety Gray. Gray comes up, tries to put a hit on him, and does, but then boink, bounces right off of him. Ileus keeps his feet, gets the ball all the way down inside the red zone to about the 17, and the Bison strike again through the air.
Ileus's alma mater in high school, Wyndmere-Lidgerwood. The Warbirds winning a state championship on this turf yesterday. Ty Brooks taken down right in the hole. Another good tackle by Andrew Gray. And to finish the story on Ileus, it was kind of a special moment. Scott Stringy, the head coach, asked Ileus to speak to the team before the game. Went in there, gave him a pep talk before the 9 a.m. kick. And the Warbirds went on to win, going away, finishing off a perfect season. There's a look at the senior from Lidgerwood.
Yeah, Wyndmere-Lidgerwood beating Shiloh Christian. And really exploding in that second half.
Ty Brooks sneaking through a hole. Ty Brooks has his third touchdown.
You're going to like what both guards did on this play. Nesner and Bacon opened up the crease. Ty Brooks took advantage. Ram tough. Yeah, rammed it right into the end zone. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Mesner blocks down. Bacon up front. You also have Johnson there with a little bit of a kick out. No linebacker. Beats second level. Score.
Or how about Colin Connor getting all the way down to the 5-yard line to make the block on Latrenta, the middle linebacker for South Dakota. Peterson adds the extra point. The Bison extend the lead to 35-14 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. 6:02 to go as Ty Brooks takes in his third of the day. Today's game is sponsored by Gate City Bank, and for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans.
Impressive mix on that particular drive. Scoring drive showing a real physical finish down inside the red zone.
And a couple of big third downs for North Dakota State in their own territory, keeping that thing alive. And this one squibbed down to about the 3. Takari Allen picking it up. And he is tripped up at the 20-yard line. Aaron Mercadal making this special teams tackle.
I also saw Jackson Brown down in there.
Take a look at your Bobcat scoring recap. 86 yards in 5 minutes. Ty Brooks, 8 carries, 98 yards, and 3 touchdowns, including a 14-yard scamper into the end zone there, as North Dakota State has given themselves a little breathing room here going into the latter part of the third quarter.
And Sticks now 9 of 9 for 249.
Yeah, Ileus certainly the big passing play that time. 46 yards inside the 20 of USD. Kai Henry, we've not heard from him today. First carry, gains about 3 yards. A couple of huge fumbles at Northern Iowa last week, including one in the fourth quarter.
That one was a mistake and his fault. The first one, I think anybody in the world fumbles that one. He was blasted hard in that on the first fumble.
Straggler going to take off and run. Boy, Straggler just a tough guy to bring down. And eventually taken down by Nick DeLuca at the 38. Good enough for a South Dakota first down.
And the Bison have a nice lead right now, 35-14 obviously, but one thing we know you cannot do, and that is sleep on this Coyote offense.
Henry forced back inside. Good job by Jabril Cox, kind of blowing that thing up, and then DeLuca finishes him off after a 2-yard gain.
And here's the advantage again NDSU has. After this play, they brought in 4 new defensive linemen. Most teams cannot go 4 in, 4 out. That's a Bison advantage.
Oh, Straggler in trouble, but he gets away again. And now he's going to take off and run, and look at the speed of Straggler, finally bumped down by Trey Dempsey inside Bison territory at the 43.
Stanley Jones comes from the boundary, gets to Straggler, but he cannot get him to the turf. So once Jones doesn't bring him down, his side of the field is open. Straggler takes advantage.
Boy, it looked like a clean shot. And quickly South Dakota inside NDSU territory. Henry squeaks through a hole, and then Caleb Butler tracks him down from behind after a gain of 6. Straggler out to Shamar Jackson, who fell down after he made the catch. No gain will bring up 3rd down and 4.
It looks like if he stays on his feet, he's able to pick up the 1st down. All you'd have to do is make 2 more steps, because Dempsey's coming a little bit late from his safety. Slides down, and it's 3rd down instead of a 1st down.
Straggler 17 carries, 68 yards on the ground today. Henry turned back. Jared Tuska continues to fight. Looked like Aaron Steidel had him from below. Gain of maybe 1 to the 36.
4th down. Coyotes will stay on the field. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Henry tried to feel it back toward the right, toward his right. Closed off.
Second time that USD has gone for it on 4th down today. Not uncommon, as you mentioned, LT, for them to do this. Crowd coming to life here on 4th and 3. Bison bringing pressure. Straggler hanging in there, and Van Rugel could not hang on to it. It was timed perfectly by Marquise Bridges, and a turnover on down.
That's the key, Brian. You said time perfectly. Bridges playing off his man on the outside, slides down, and is able to get a shoulder pad into Van Rugel. No catch. Bison get it on downs.
We'll step aside for a timeout. 3:03 to go. North Dakota State a big 4th down stop and have the football back. The old Coyote mascot. Not a lot to cheer about here in the second half so far. 35-14 NDSU with the football and its own 36. Dimitri Williams, the motion man. Seth Wilson gets another carry, driven back there by Jim LaTrenta after a gain of 2. Ryan Geller on the sidelines has an interesting story on Easton Stick, who received an important phone call on the way home from Brookings last Saturday.
Yeah, guys, Easton Stick got on the bus after that disappointing performance last week. His phone rang. He picked it up. It was Carson Wentz, and Carson simply told him and built him back up a little bit and just said, remember who you are. Remember how you got here. You know, the last 2 games don't define you, and I guess Easton took that to heart. The Bison coaching staff said they immediately saw a different Easton Stick, and he's showing it today.
Oh, another open receiver downfield is Jeff Ileus, working off a block from Wilson down to the 12-yard line, and a Lidgerwood native over 100 yards or close to 100 yards receiving.
It's a beautiful thing for a quarterback if you have multiple guys wide open, because Nate Jensen was wide open as well. He goes to the out. He gets Ileus, his sure-handed tight end, who already had a big catch, the touchdown drive before this. The Bison back inside the red zone, where they have been productive today.
Easton Stick a perfect 10 of 10, throwing for 299 yards. And Ileus now at 96 receiving yards on the day. Wilson gets the call. Boy, keeps his feet. Good tough run for the freshman before he's taken down by Greenfield. Still gained about 5 yards.
Well, you'll remember in our conversation with Coach Messingham too, we talked a little. Of course, Easton was a topic of conversation, just to follow up a little bit on what Ryan was talking about with the call he got from Carson. And Coach Mess said the same thing. Basically, his message to Stick is your team does not waver in believing in what you do. So just go out and do it.
This time Stick keeps it. Inside the 5, Easton Stick. Touchdown, North Dakota State.
Kodak Insurance Company replay. Zone read, keeps it here, cuts up. 7th rushing touchdown of the year. Easton Stick.
7 yards on the run. As Peterson knocks through the extra point. And the Bison with a couple of third-quarter touchdowns now lead it by 28 with 1:15 to go here in the third quarter.
So NDSU's offense so far, 2 touchdowns in the first 3 quarters each. That is spreading it out the production.
Well, as we get down to the nitty-gritty here of Missouri Valley Conference play, the conference championship up for grabs. If NDSU can hang on, the Bison will win their 7th straight, at least a share of it, of the Missouri Valley Conference title. Ryan Gellner has an update on some more scores from around the league.
Yeah, guys, 'tis the season when you start scoreboard watching. Let's talk about some of those scores. South Dakota State has taken a late 23-17 lead over Illinois State. That game, though, still 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Redbirds have the football. Northern Iowa is up 22-10 on Missouri State. Western Illinois is put away with Indiana State 45-0. And Youngstown State, an 8-point winner over Southern Illinois. One other interesting score, if I can find that one real quick, guys. Number 1, James Madison, is tied with Richmond 10-10 at the end of the third quarter. That's one to watch, fellas.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Part of your First International Bank and Trust sideline reports. And yeah, the team may not scoreboard watch, but all of us do as we head into the final week of Valley play coming up next Saturday. This one booted away by Peterson, and again, it's Ducker from his own 5. Well, pretty good lane that time for Ducker, and Desmond Kane makes the tackle at the 32, so the Coyotes some pretty good field position here, trailing by 4 scores.
But overall, I think those kickoffs from Peterson have been put in the corner fairly well, so it kind of squeezes half the field away.
A unique situation at Illinois State, and we'll head there next Saturday to Bloomington Normal. They're starting a true freshman quarterback today instead of the experienced junior Jake Colby, who's really been the starting guy since he set foot on campus.
When you first said that, I was like, well, I didn't hear or didn't read. Is Colby injured? And then Brian dug and found no. That is a little bit of a surprise.
Straggler fires on the slant, and this catch is made, I believe, by Cody Case. Jalen Allison immediately there to meet Case after an 8-yard gain.
Bison continue to blitz, especially from the wide side of the field, and I think that's mainly designed just to make sure that Straggler doesn't try to get outside on that side of the field.
Straggler again has a first down on the pickup to Shamar Jackson, who's had a little trouble with his footing today. Slips down at about the 48. And it looks like he hurt an ankle.
Yeah, Jackson's going to go out.
Stop on the play by number 21, Jalen Allison. First down for the Coyotes at their 48-yard line.
Straggler and company, as we're under 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter, desperately need a play to get on the board quickly. Straggler feeling the pressure, dumps it off. Nobody is over there.
Oh, he got a big mitt full of Aaron Steidel.
Straggler picks himself up off the turf. Ryan Gellner has another update on yet another NDSU injury.
Yeah, guys, not good news again. Dom Davis, the Bison cornerback, has a groin injury. He's yet to be evaluated, but I'm told by team doctors he is out for the remainder of the game. Dom Davis out for the game.
Boy, NDSU just has to get through the next 15 minutes and 15 seconds of football healthy. Straggler to throw, flushed. Jared Tuska after him, and then Straggler just throws it away out of bounds. We'll bring up 3rd and 10. And if you're South Dakota, you almost have to abandon the running game already, trailing by 4 scores.
Probably only one more snap left of this quarter.
Bison going with 3 down linemen.
It's been effective. NDSU's done that max coverage a couple of times.
Frederick will motion out. Straggler under pressure, gets away again, and then drops it off. Beautiful pass to Van Rugel, picks up a first down to the 39. Guy can be a magician back there.
The Bison playing a little bit of zone up underneath.
Sorry, that was Hale, not Van Rugel.
Okay.
And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter as Hale makes the reception for a first down for USD. And the Yotes driving, trailing by 4 scores when we come back. And yes, it's the fourth quarter, so hold up your 4. Because it's the 4 for 4 from PetroServe USA. Get a pizza, 2 cookies, and a drink for $4 at all 22 PetroServe USA locations. We're back to Fargo after this timeout on NBC and the KBOI KFYR Bison Television Network. The Fallen Bison Memorial here just outside the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse on the North Dakota State campus. Beautiful shot from Dave Erickson, one of our photographers. Wishing all those veterans a very happy Veterans Day and a thank you as well. Shamar Jackson making the reception. Trey Dempsey wrestles him out of bounds and throws him out of bounds at the 33 after a gain of 5.
Keep talking, I'm doing math. Okay, the Bison in the first quarter, 174 yards. Second quarter, 185 yards. Third quarter, 159 yards. That's pretty good.
And South Dakota ran just 17 plays in that third quarter after running 47 in the first half. Straggler crossed the middle, led his receiver a little bit too much as Cody Case could not hang on. Another third down coming up.
I think Marquise Bridges has his timing down pretty well. Of course, that big one, the big stop in that third quarter he made just on the right hit. There he was right there at the right amount of time. Turns the receiver just a little bit, but not too soon. Didn't hit him too soon.
USD 8 of 14 on third down. So far this season, 50% on average. It's a team that's averaging 36 points a game in Valley play, held to just 14 so far here this afternoon. Bison bringing pressure. Straggler airs it out, and the receiver and the quarterback not on the same page as I believe Cody Case cut inside instead of going deep where Straggler threw it, and another fourth down coming up here for the Yotes.
Yeah, Case ran about a 10-yard out, and Straggler had a safety blitz. Robbie Grimsley was coming down hard, and there was no way that Straggler could hold in there. Here comes number 5. Straggler has to get rid of it before he has an opportunity to read what Case is even doing. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Incomplete pass, fourth down.
USD 0 of 2 today on fourth down. Bison bringing a little extra pressure. Straggler incomplete, skipped in, hailed the intended target, and a turnover on downs for USD.
But the Jackrabbits were successful on fourth down last week, and that was the first time all year long anyone has converted a fourth down against this Bison defense.
Jabril Cox in on that coverage, and Straggler again feeling the pressure a little bit, has done a good job hanging in there today, but the Bison have come up with stops when they've needed them.
I'm just going to mention the offensive production again for NDSU as they come out here. 174 yards in the first quarter, 185 in the second quarter, 159 in that third quarter. And now NDSU would love nothing more now just to grind a little something on the ground.
Stick has done a lot of his work out of the shotgun today. Inside handoff again, and there goes Brooks. Brooks off to the races again. Has Urzendowski blocking downfield to the 20. Brooks pushed out of bounds finally by Mike Johnson at the 11-yard line. And Ty Brooks now well over 100 yards on just 9 carries. And South Dakota defensively continues to give up big chunks to the NDSU offense here in the second half.
What a difference a healthy Ty Brooks makes in the running game. He explodes again off the edge. The Bison had a game plan of trying to get the ball to the edge, attack the edges, and the Bison have done that very successfully here today. None better than 28.
Brooks will remain in the game as a tailback. And Stick going to keep it this time, and he is taken down at the 10-yard line after a gain of about 2 yards. Gray and another tackle with Brian Woodward.
Alex Gray, number 22, came in there fairly deep, so Stick on that zone read option. He did the right thing by pulling it out of Brooks's belly because Gray, the linebacker, was right there, and he was able to get some positive yards. If he tries to hand that off, it might have been negative.
Two tight ends to the bottom of your screen there, Jensen and Connor Wentz. Brooks again. Oh, excuse me. Play action. Faked me out and a touchdown for NDSU. Wide open receiver in the back of the end zone is Connor Wentz.
Do you know who else he faked out, Brian? A gentleman by the name of Mark Collins Jr., the corner. Wentz fakes the block, and he is wide open on the outside.
Nobody there. And North Dakota State well on their way to victory number 9 with 12:54 to go here in the fourth quarter as Stick connects with Connor Wentz from 10 yards out. Connor, one of those 20 seniors. Peterson boots through the extra point. 12:54 to go. Will step aside. The Bison rolling here in the second half. Lead it by a bunch in Fargo as Stick connects again. His first touchdown pass of the day. And it's 49-14. Today's game is sponsored by Gate City Bank. Gate City Bank has been serving customers and investing in a better way of life since 1923 with 36 locations in 19 communities across North Dakota and western Minnesota. Coming into this game, the South Dakota defense had not allowed a real big rushing game with the exception of a game at Illinois State, 331 yards. Last week, UNI gained just 55 yards rushing on 35 carries. The Bison today, 277 on the ground, 152 by Ty Brooks. As we take a look at your Bobcat scoring recap. 3 plays and just 66 yards as Connor Wentz makes the touchdown reception in the back of the end zone.
Set up obviously by the long Brooks run. Nice open field tackle too on that kickoff, Aaron Mercadale.
There's a look at Connor Wentz. Had a chance to catch up with him and said, is it tough having the last name you have? And he goes, no, I've been able to kind of carve out my own little niche here. Grant Morgan making the tackle on Kai Henry after a pickup of 6.
The one thing with Connor, we always knew he was good at blocking, but what he's really established this year is his pass catcher. Remember at South Dakota State last week, he had that one really nice catch that was behind him, and he's able to get into the end zone a lot more this year too and make himself a big part of the passing game.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns in his senior season, Connor Wentz. Throw it down to Ryan Gellner on the sidelines for a quick update.
Yeah, guys, just some score updates. We continue to watch. South Dakota State and Illinois State tied at 24 with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Illinois State with the football. The other score everybody's interested, James Madison leads Richmond 13-10, 13 minutes to go in the fourth quarter there.
All right, thank you, Ryan. That pass incomplete to Shamar Jackson, who again had been the leading receiver for South Dakota coming in. 36 receptions coming into the game today. 5 receptions, 19 yards has really not been much of a factor, and the Yotes will have to punt it away again.
And keep in mind about the Illinois State-South Dakota State game, that's who these two teams here today will cross and play again tomorrow. Of course, as Brian mentioned already, we head out to Normal, Illinois, and then the Battle of South Dakota next week.
Yeah, South Dakota State at South Dakota in Vermillion. Dakota Dome should be rocking next Saturday. And Trey Dempsey will retreat and then fumble the football, but gets back on top of it as Alex Coker got down there. The Bison offense will have it at the 22.
Celebration sponsors at the gold level include Agassi Seeds and Supply, American Bank Center, Amity Technology, the Arthur Companies, Bank Forward, BC Contracting.
I'll give credit to the NDSU defense, LT. They've taken the most prolific offense, certainly in the Valley, and one of the best in the country, and really shut them down here in the second half. There's a look at Easton Stick's numbers. Perfect today. 11 of 11, 307 and a touchdown. And averaging 28 yards a completion. That's pretty good.
Tack in the rushing touchdown he has as well. But yeah, as poor a game as he had last week, it's a 180-degree turnaround this week.
Bison right back to the ground, and a big hole for Bruce Anderson. Taken down by Philip Powell after a first down run. Bruce been kind of tough sledding. 12 carries, 17 yards before that 10-yard run.
That's as simple a play as it gets in the Bison playbook. That's A-gap power. Pull the backside guard, follow him up through the hole, and in this instance, you pick up more than 10 yards.
And USD playing some backup defensive linemen, including Spencer Hopkins. And number 90 in there as well, Jackson Coker. True freshman out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Seth Wilson getting the carry. Pretty good job by Coker. Washing down and making the tackle after a gain of 1, maybe 2 yards.
Coyotes had the right play call. There was a slant to the right. The defense is right, and he was able to bust through that gap, made a nice little swim move between the center and guard, and then was able to catch the running back from behind.
Brock Robbins motioning into the backfield. Back to power again, and Anderson keeps his feet, keeps chugging ahead to the 39, gain of 6. Jacob Headley making the tackle for USD.
Gets the Bison back on schedule. 3rd down and 3. Bison with 18 first downs, looking for number 19 on the day. Coyotes have 20 first downs, but the bulk of those happened in the first half.
Stick gonna roll and fired into the ground. Could have taken off and run with it very easily, but just misfires. Had an open receiver out there, Desmond Kane, and the Bison will have to punt.
First incompletion of the day, and he wants it back.
So Ducker back deep as we are under 10 minutes to go. Jackson Kuntz punted on the first, after the first drive of NDSU, went 3 and out. Since then, we haven't really seen him until now.
On average, he has gained more distance this year, but in terms of allowing returns, Kuntz is still very good at that. The Bison do not have very many punts even returned attempts against them this year.
Well, good effort here as Kuntz hangs it up nice and high and deep. And Ducker has to retreat to his own 17, and that's where the Coyotes will have it when we come back. 9:31 to go, 49-14, NDSU in control. Well, this young man's had enough. 9:31 to go, North Dakota State. Just 9.5 minutes away from coming up with a 9th victory of the season. Boy, the Bison still running to the football really well. Nowhere to go there for Tristan Ducker as Jabril Cox makes the tackle, loss of 2.
Yeah, what did that young guy and the Coyote defense have in common? They've had enough. I wouldn't guess that USD wants to expose Straggler very much here at all. Hand it off.
Good tough run. It's Kai Henry. Gains 5 the hard way before he is driven back at the 20. See, Josh Hayes is actually in their corner right now, the true freshman out of Florida.
Throughout the course of the year between Frederick and Henry, that's been kind of the dynamic of the two, that Henry's been able to get the tough yards a lot more than Frederick has.
Jalen Allison on the sidelines here, and Hendricks remains in the game. Marquise Bridges the other corner. Straggler finds a window. Nice job looking everybody off, and Cody Case makes the reception for a first down at the 34.
Well, this might be the part of the game where you would say, hey, we'd like to take some reps off of guys like DeLuca and Cox, but you can't. There's nobody else to play at linebacker.
And Steitel, I believe, was the one that got in there to take down Henry after a minimal gain.
Brings up 2nd and 10 for the Coyotes.
Jabril Cox coming. Picked up. Straggler running out of time. Throws it back for Dakota Allen, but just a little bit short, incomplete. Straggler just not quite able to get enough on that.
Well, I think too it's a good throw just to get rid of it, because the Coyotes have a huge game next week against their in-state rival, and again, you don't want Straggler banged up, and so here in the last 8 minutes of this game, I don't think you want to expose him to many more hits.
And if you're South Dakota, you want to win next Saturday at home. You don't want to put your fate in the hands of the committee at 7-4. An impressive resume with an FBS win, but how many Valley teams get into the playoffs? Hard to say. There's Straggler taking off, getting to the sideline and taken down by Hayes inside Bison territory at the 40.
Stop on the plate, number 35.
Straggler now close to 100 yards rushing on the day.
Josh Hayes on the stop.
Straggler hit hard and taken down right away. Gets it away to Kai Henry, and boy, he was drilled on that play by Steidel.
And you got to get him out.
Excuse me, Cole Karch was the one that got in there.
Karch got into his midsection. You see that great big flak jacket there's to protect the ribs, goes all the way down to the waist. But I think Karch was able to get right up underneath there and his hip. I know he doesn't want to come out, but holy cow.
Straggler on the slant. Nice adjustment that time by Case. Sliding down and going behind to make the reception for a gain of 9. Talented young true freshman here out of Iowa.
Boy, they really like him. Again, he's been kind of nursing a little bit of a quad injury, but he is fast. And we all know that in this game, speed is your friend.
And South Dakota State, Illinois State, that game has gone to overtime in Brookings. We'll keep an eye on that one. Kai Henry bouncing off defenders and getting a first down to the NDSU 22. And now 4 new defensive linemen will shuffle into the game.
One of the Coyotes is down back at the 34-yard line, one of the offensive linemen. We still can't.
Looks like it might be Daigle. Stetson Daigle, 64. One of the captains on this team. Right. 6'5", 280, a senior out of Cherokee, Iowa. Bob Nielsen and company, back-to-back losses here in November. We'll try to rebound at home in the Dakota Dome next Saturday.
Yeah, now this is going to be 3 out of 3 losses in the last month for the Coyotes.
We'll step aside. 49-14, 6:42 to go. Today's game is sponsored by Gate City Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard. Stetson Daigle was assisted to the sidelines, not putting a lot of pressure on his right knee. And this throw from Straggler sailing out of bounds. He wanted a flag as Case and Marquise Bridges in coverage.
Just a little bit of a bump, but nothing too egregious down around the 5-yard line.
Straggler on the slant. Pretty good coverage by the freshman Hayes that time. Dakota Allen, the intended target for South Dakota.
Brings up 3rd and 10 for the Coyotes.
Other than the safeties and the linebackers, the Bison have been able to get some reps off of their starters today on the defensive side here in the second half.
Well, South Dakota may only have 14 points, but this is the 84th play already for the Coyotes. Straggler running out of time, dumps it off, incomplete, short. Ducker the intended target, 4th and 10 coming up. And 4 new defensive linemen run on the field again.
Yeah, averaging 78 plays a game this year, and the minimum output, I believe, was the game against UND when they had 55, but scored what, 45 points, I think, in that game.
87 plays, 490 last week against Northern Iowa. Straggler 232 yards as he runs for his life here on 4th down, going to the end zone, out of bounds, and yet another turnover on downs for USD, and the Coyotes today 0 of 4 on 4th down, and the Bison hold once again.
The Bison hold, obviously, but I tell you what, the way these last few minutes have played out, if I'm USD, I'm almost happy you don't get that first down, because you got to get Straggler off the field. I just think they got too much to play for next week to keep exposing him here today.
Now North Dakota State in 6 conference games led the league with 21 sacks coming into today. They have tacked on 4 more defensively. Wilson. Kind of inching his way along, following blocks, picks up 5 yards to the 27.
Do you know who quietly's played a very good game today? Zach Johnson. 68, the Bison starting right tackle. The sophomore out of Blaine, 6'6", 312, right there in the middle. He's middle of your screen. He's played very well today.
Do want to take a moment to wish Bryce Mesner, the starting guard for North Dakota State, a congratulations. Became a father a couple of days ago. There's a look at number 62, and I told Bryce a couple weeks ago, get your sleep now. Boy, look at the C's park there for Wilson. All sorts of room to run. Finally taken down at the 44-yard line by Phillip Powell. But a first down for NDSU. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
A fullback's job, you're kind of like the third guard. And Garrett Malmstrom, he led right up through that whole point of attack, made a great impact, and was able to free up off of his right hip. That's great. You make that block, and you see and feel that running back zipping right off of your right hip. You know you've done your job very well.
See Ben Lecomte over there in the NDSU hat on the sidelines. Lecomte, his first time he sat on the sidelines as a coach, helping out with the specialists a little bit today. Ran into Ben last night. Standout punter here in his own right. Boy, Wilson's got a lot more room. Taken down after a gain of 9 more yards. Powell and Gray, Johnson all over there.
Well, Alex Gray had a run blitz, and right where he left is where the play was designed. 22, you see him just miss Wilson. Then Wilson's trying to bounce outside, play off a couple of blocks from his wide receivers. Freeman couldn't quite free him up, but there you see Gray, 22, fly by.
And North Dakota State over 300 yards rushing today. 623 yards of total offense to this point. We still got 4 minutes left. Wilson will continue to pound it up in there, and this time the Yotes ready for it. Still might have enough for a first down to the 46.
I mean, obviously last week with 108 yards against South Dakota State, that was a season low for the Bison in terms of rushing yards. But the 2 previous games as well, NDSU was under 200 yards rushing. And so that sounds a little strange when that happens, but it was easily the stated goal today. As much success as Stick had through the air, but the stated goal today was to get yards on the ground, both inside the tackles and off the edges, and the Bison have done both of those things very, very well.
Boy, Wilson dropped that time, walloped by Gray in the hole after a gain of 2. This copyrighted broadcast is property of North Dakota State University, and a rebroadcast, reproduction, or distribution without the consent of NDSU is strictly prohibited. Bison able to get into what they call, their 6-minute offense, 7-minute offense. Just kind of grind it down the field and take it to zeros and walk out of here with win number 9. Boy, Wilson, impressed for a true freshman how well he finishes runs LT.
Well, in the short time that we've seen him, and it happened actually on his touchdown run too. He's able to absorb first contact and still keep his momentum going forward and his shoulders fairly square.
Again, this is a guy that, going back in October, thought I'm squarely in my redshirt year, but Dunn getting hurt, Adam Cofield getting hurt, Damaris Purifoy getting hurt very early in the season. Chris Kleiman said, yeah, we're redshirting him, but one of the reasons we're pulling his red shirt is we only have 6 running backs on the team, and he's number 6, so we got to play him.
And it was so strange, too, as Chris Kleiman lets it run down to 1 on the clock and then takes the timeout.
1:40 to go, and South Dakota State has survived at home and beaten Illinois State in overtime today. So the Jacks keeping their hopes of a Missouri Valley Conference title alive if North Dakota State loses next Saturday at Illinois State. But if the Bison win, they are outright champions. With the victory today, NDSU claims a share, at least a share, of a 7th straight title. And again, that's only been done one other time by Northern Iowa from 1990 to 1996.
You know, each week we look at game notes and you write numbers down and about how impressive NDSU has been. But, you know, since 2010 in this building, the Bison are going to be 61-6. Hey, this is cool. Senior day.
Cole Davis, who's been injured since early in the season due to a shoulder, is going to get in the game and hand it off to Seth Wilson on senior day. And, you know, Cole's an interesting story, a good story, a guy that has been a backup his career here, a 6'3" senior out of Kearney, Missouri, and had some opportunities to play early just because of how lopsided the games were and did well. And now getting his opportunity here to finish this game out for NDSU.
And oddly enough, Cole's injury happened when he was scoring a touchdown. You know, remember that? He dove into the end zone, and then the point of his shoulder hit the turf first, and that was his injury. So he was playing very well in the role as you described, Brian, and you get hurt scoring a touchdown.
So 4th and 2, NDSU will go for it here and try to run out the clock. Wilson sneaking outside. How about the freshman running through arm tackles, getting a first down to the 30, and North Dakota State can take a knee and walk out of here with its 9th victory of the season. Easton Stick cheering them on. And North Dakota State has now won the next game after a loss 15 straight times. You have to go back to 2009 to find the last time NDSU lost back-to-back games. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, 2009 was that year that just didn't go well. They lost a bunch of games. Lost, what, I think 5 in a row, but since then have not lost 2 straight. Wow.
The senior Davis will take a knee on the final play of the football game, and North Dakota State shuts out South Dakota, limiting the Yotes to 14 points, a season low by far, and winning easily 49-14 to move to 9-1 on the season.
Yeah, we had a good old-fashioned shootout right up until half, and then, as you mentioned, Brian, shut out in the second half, not allowing any points to this Coyote offense. Coming off NDSU's absolute worst defensive performance of the year, and today we saw maybe its best.
And NDSU now 39-2-2 in Harvest Bowls games. Of course, the only time they didn't play a Harvest Bowl, that was scheduled 1991 due to a blizzard that canceled the game against Omaha. Chris Kleiman will make his way over to Ryan Gellner here momentarily.
Well, there's positives and negatives in any game, and depending on how that young man in the crutches, his right knee, how that all develops, that could be the negative, but that's Austin Kunert, injured in the first half.
And now Chris Kleiman is with Ryan Gellner.
Chris, what a response by your football team today.
Yeah, heart of a champion, and our guys were galvanized this week, and we were going to play really good football, and it was led by our defense and number 12. Easton Stick's a really good football player.
Yeah, Easton goes for over 300 yards. Ty Brooks, 150 yards. The offense really clicking today.
Yeah, we felt we needed to run for 250 plus, and if we did that, we could keep their guys on the sideline because that's a great offense. And so, hats off, great team win.
Yeah, you got pressure on their quarterback, which is what you wanted. Held them to a season low in points. You have to be proud.
Yeah, 14 points with that offense. Holy cow, that's a great job by their defense.
All right, Chris, good luck next week.
Thanks.
Chris Kleiman, guys.
250 plus. How about 340 on the ground today? 647. That's how many yards the North Dakota State offense churned out, limiting South Dakota to 419. 232 coming through the air to Chris Straggler and company, who will have to rebound now at home against South Dakota State to guarantee a playoff spot. The Jacks winning today remain in contention for a conference championship as well, but the Bison have it secured at least a share of their 7th straight Missouri Valley Conference title. We're back to wrap things up here at the Fargo Dome after this timeout on the KBLY KFYR Bison Television Network. (49-14) your final score. North Dakota State shutting out South Dakota and winning fairly easily here this afternoon in the second half, improving to 9-1 on the season. Your Nodak Insurance Company player of the game goes to none other than Easton Stick. Boy, did this kid rebound. The junior out of Omaha, 11 of 12, 307 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for a touchdown as well today, LT.
This, well, we didn't see the conclusion of it, but that one to Dimitri Williams tied his career long, a 77-yarder. He averaged 27.9, so 28 yards a completion today. And he hit Jeff Ileus on a couple of wide open ones, and here's where he adds his touchdown on the ground. So yeah, Easton Stick, he knew he didn't play well last week. This week, one of his best efforts.
And that's why he's your Nodak Insurance Company player of the game. We'll step aside one more time and be back to wrap things up and take a look at your final stats on the KBLY KFYR Bison Television Network. Back to wrap things up here at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome. 49-14 your final score for North Dakota State. Victorious as South Dakota drops its 2nd straight game. Will have to rebound in the final week to secure a playoff spot now at 7-3 overall. Let's take a look at your final stats brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers.
Dominating ground numbers in the second half. The Bison took over and ground out 340 yards on the ground. Remember, they only had 108 last week in the loss to South Dakota State. Bison with 46 carries for 340 yards. But in the second half alone, in terms of total yardage, USD 162. That defense came to play today as well.
And came up with 4 big 4th down stops once South Dakota got into Bison territory. USD unable to take advantage of those opportunities. And that's why North Dakota State ran away and won this game relatively easily in the 4th quarter. Those are your final stats brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. 3rd down for USD, still pretty good, 11 of 20. The Bison, 4 of 8. NDSU did have 4 sacks, but maybe the stat that stood out to me, USD 6th in the nation in tackles for loss at 82, just 3 today.
Yeah, the Bison were able to get, when you physically own the line of scrimmage, you're not going to give up many tackles for loss. And today, the Bison offensive line did that.
Let's take a look at your upcoming schedule as we look ahead to our final game that we will produce in this regular season, our 10th and final telecast coming up 1 week from today at high noon. Illinois State, North Dakota State. The Redbirds suffering a tough loss in overtime in Brookings today and making a change at quarterback. That's always a tough place to go, but we haven't been there in a while.
We haven't seen the new stadium because NDSU had to cycle out against Illinois State for a little bit. So yeah, we haven't been there since they redid the new stadium. Looking forward to that. Interesting this week. We'll find out what the quarterback situation is, but both teams go into that game with a lot to play for. The Bison with an outright championship, and obviously the Redbirds with the loss today. They're looking for a big win as well.
Northern Iowa with a victory today, also still in the hunt for a conference title as well, with just 2 losses and 6 wins overall. So still a lot to play for a lot of teams here in the final week of the regular season. Should be a fun one out in Normal, Illinois. Pre-game at 11, kickoff at noon. We'll have it for you on the KBLY KFYR Bison Television Network. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon for this Senior Day on this Veterans Day. and celebrate all our veterans and all the work that they have done to protect us and keep us safe here at home. North Dakota State rolls over South Dakota, improving to 9-1 on the season. We will see you next Saturday in Normal, Illinois. For Alex Egan, Beth Hool, Ryan Gellner, Lee Timmerman, I'm Brian Shawn, saying so long from the Fargo Dome. 49-14 your final score. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good one, everybody.